Hi all. Hopefully this is live now. This is the first live that I'm doing, mostly about selling bulk on TCGPlayer, about my experience selling for about 5 or 6 weeks straight, along with my partner, who's been sorting and selling with me under the name Mile High Pokemon, mostly on TCGPlayer, but also a little bit on Instagram and YouTube. So, just wanted to walk through a few things that I was pretty surprised about. And then if you have any questions about selling cards in bulk Pokemon, I'd be happy to answer those. So I guess I first want to begin by talking about the fact that I'm actually surprised how much bulk people have. Because when I first started selling, I went to just Facebook and the Facebook groups around here in Denver, because Denver is pretty active. And was just asking, well, does anyone have any bulk to get rid of? And people literally had like tens of thousands of cards. Like, there were a few people I talked to who I literally bought like 100 pounds of bulk from them, to the point where I'm not really buying common or uncommon bulk anymore. I'm really only buying hollows, rares, and reverse hollows, and mixed bulk if it's completely unsorted. And I also am offering less than I did when I started, because we just have probably like 100,000 cards by now worth it. So one of the things that has been interesting is our sales really took off after about 2 weeks on TCGPlayer, because we're able to offer free shipping, which kind of bumps you up in the algorithm. And we went from getting about 3 to 4 sales a day, being listed one of the lowest at TCGPlayer, to getting probably around 20 orders a day, being listed on market price. Which is kind of interesting that it took off so quickly. People, I guess, are not conditioned to search for the lowest priced card. One of the things that was really interesting in particular is that I would presume, like, whenever I've ordered on TCGPlayer, I've always tried to get free shipping. And I always order like a lot of cards at once. It's rare that I order one, and if it is, it's usually a more expensive card. One of the things that's really been surprising to me is that probably 85% of orders are just orders of 1 to 4 cards. They're very small orders, and it's kind of crazy because a lot of the times, like, a lot of the orders is someone buying under 50 cents worth of cards, and then they're paying $1 for shipping, which is not something I would do, but that is the majority of business that I've been getting selling bulk, especially hollows. Most of what we list so far is hollows and trainers, which is kind of interesting. I want to talk a little bit quickly about the profitability of an order on TCGPlayer. A lot of people think that, like, you're going to lose money on selling bulk cards. That's not been my experience so far. I'm going to run you through a little math. So, assume that someone spends, 15 cents on a hollow, right? And then they pay 99 cents for shipping. So altogether, you've got $1.14. Now, subtract a few expenses. Subtract 4 cents for getting the hollow. Subtract 30 cents, which is the credit card fee. Then another 10 cents, which is the TCGPlayer fee. So we're at 70 cents overall. Subtract 38 cents for postage, which is about what we pay on USPS. So that's 32 cents. And then subtract about 3 or 4 cents for, well, am I doing the math right here? Subtract about 10 cents for the penny sleeve, card saver, and envelope and labels. And altogether, you come out to about 20 to 30 cents in profit on about every order. It doesn't take very long to package an order. You could probably do, 2 or 3 per minute. And calculated at that rate, you're making about $30 an hour, I think, is my guess. Depending on the order, you could do them faster or slower. We had an order earlier this week of 700 cards. It was a $100 order. So it cost about $28 to acquire those cards. The shipping and fees were about $22 altogether. So it was about $50 altogether in profit. And it took about an hour and 15 minutes to pull out the cards. So probably around a $40 an hour profit on pulling, which isn't actually characterizing very well what the actual hourly cost is and what the hourly earnings are, because you also have to sort the cards when you first get them. So I'm just counting the time it takes to pull the cards out, which, to be fair, can be done at a relaxed pace. Whenever I'm doing it, I'm usually listening to a podcast or something. Whenever my partner's doing it, she's usually watching a TV show or something. But for me, when you're actually listing the cards or sorting them, I'm also watching. It doesn't take nearly as long to sort as it does to actually pull them out, I think. Obviously, you need to have them organized before you can pull out orders, but it obviously does take some amount of time, maybe a few seconds per card, to sort them in as well. But it's kind of negligible in the grand scheme of things, especially if you're multitasking. And I think that's what it really comes down to at the end here. If you don't mind the mundane work of sorting cards, and you're willing to do it while you're already doing something else, like watching a TV show or listening to a podcast or something, I don't think it's that bad of work. And it's hey, Alan, for coming in. I don't think it's that wasteful. I usually get, so on eBay, you'll find you can get a roll of 100 stamps for between 37 and 40 bucks, usually. So it comes out to about 37 cents per stamp. And usually you'll put on one stamp for orders where you're under 8 cards or so. And then on orders more than that, you'll need usually an additional stamp. And obviously, if you've got an expensive order or a big order, you'll need to actually get tracking. So like $10 for that 700 card order we got. Also, I really want to thank TCG Bulk Kings, who I think kind of started putting the first YouTube videos up on selling bulk. And I was kind of inspired by his ability to do things and make money and do it efficiently. I think for him, and we're still getting better at this, both here and then, of course, at TCG Bulk Kings, at what's the most efficient way. He thinks that he can get cards out at around 6 seconds per card in terms of inventory. And so if you're thinking that you're making probably 10 to 20 cents profit on a card, if you're assuming that most orders are just a card or two, then that's a pretty good rate of making money if you're down to 6 cents a card. That's pretty fast. Or for 6 seconds a card, especially if you're able to multitask and watch something or listen to a podcast. I don't think we're that fast. I think it probably takes us around, I think on a 1 or 2 card order, it takes probably around 20 seconds. And then if we have more than that, it obviously takes less and less time. If someone ordered 10 of the same card, it takes just a few seconds to get them all out. So I don't have a ton of experience yet selling non-hollow bulk. Trainers sell pretty well, but because of how much bulk we've acquired, almost I think 100,000 cards, we've prioritized sorting and listing the hollows. And I pay right now about 4 cents a hollow. I will let you know, and I will let YouTube know once we start selling the commons and uncommons at a higher rates how fast they sell. My experience is that because we have a minimum list price of 5 cents per card, we have not sold a ton of the commons and uncommons unless people are bundling with hollows that they're already picking up. But that's from the most modern cards. If you work back a little bit, if you are, sets that came out a year or two ago, the commons are worth more. They're worth, maybe 7 or 8 cents a piece. And so you actually do sell a decent number of them if you list them. I think my goal is to list enough cards. Right now we have around 6,000 listed, although most of them are probably trainers and hollow rares. My goal is to list enough. Macy, you want to say hi to the video? Hey. She helps sort and pack the orders. I think the goal is to have enough inventory so that even if your commons aren't top sellers, you have enough listed to where you're getting 20 or 30 orders of it per day, if not more. The other thing I would say is that if you get good at sorting through hollow and you know what's worth a lot, you can pull out the cards that are worth 50, 60 cents. If you have a dollar or something. So I think the goal is if I don't actually sell through the commons and uncommons, I'm going to pass them off to the next bulk buying services, because there are places online that pay a penny and a half for bulk commons and uncommons. So I think if we're unable to sell them, one of the things we're just going to do is pick out everything that's rare, hollow rare, trainers, anything that's worth more than 5 cents, and then everything that's less we'll pass it on kind of to the next bulk buyer. That might be the way to go if we end up with 30,000 cards that are just not selling. But for now, it's been pretty fast, and I don't know. I've put a lot of money in so far on just acquisition and supplies and getting a label maker and getting stamps and all that. But I think we've probably broken about even by now, and we're going to start being profitable right about now. We did start a new sale, a new account on TCGPlayer from scratch. We have about 700, more than 700 sales now. But as I mentioned, once you level up the TCG player levels, you have to get a certain number of sales. They give you more inventory, and then eventually, once you can offer free shipping on orders over $5, then you kind of get bumped up in the algorithm, and your sales take off. We're probably getting from 3 to 5 sales a day before we hit TCG level 4, TCG player. Then once we hit TCG player level 4, which took about 2 or 3 weeks, and then we started offering free shipping, we were able to bump up our prices to the market price instead of the lowest price. And we're now getting probably around 20 sales a day on average, 20 to 30. And then probably up to 50 or 60 if we just acquired new stock in our listing, new stuff. I think we've probably sold about, I want to say 2,000 or 3,000 cards probably total, and then across 700 orders. Honestly, the orders that are the biggest pain in the butt, in my view, are not the small orders. I think the smaller orders are actually the easiest, quickest, and probably have the best margins. Probably up to 8 is okay. After someone orders more than 8 cards in bulk, you have to attach another stamp, and so that pretty much eats into a lot of your shipping margin that you're otherwise making, because it's another 37 cents of shipping. That's just like a small proportion of orders, really, though, and I presume on those I pretty much break even as opposed to making a profit. And then the really big orders where people order, 100 cards, and it ends up being having to be sent without, through online postage instead of stamps. It's still profitable. You definitely still are making money on those orders, but they take a longer time. And so I think on an hourly basis, the really big orders, unless people are buying like 10 of the same card and you don't actually have to look for everything, you just pull out 10 at once, are kind of the biggest pain in the butt orders to do. So the way I'll usually do is I'll pack the small orders the fastest and do them right away. And then the long orders, I'll usually watch something or listen to something while I'm packing those away. Because they can be a little bit more boring or a pain in the ass. Because it feels like you spend, you could spend 10, 15 minutes on one order, and the order is, $10 order. And you feel like, wow, all that work for $10. But, it adds up. And probably does become on an hourly basis still worth it. Probably still, I think, making $30 on average hourly is my guess. But you do have to have an efficient setup, and I think I'm always trying to get more efficient. And I appreciate TCG Bulk Kings on his channel, finding things that are more and more efficient ways to ship. So yeah, we did start a brand new account on TCGPlayer. Sometimes we have to sell on eBay if TCGPlayer isn't listed there. The problem with eBay is that the norm there is usually to have tracking numbers, whereas in TCGPlayer, if you have an order less than $20, there is no norm for that. And out of the hundreds and hundreds of orders we had, as I said, over 700 now, I think we've truly only had one lost order. It was maybe a $1.50 order that's been truly lost. There are a few others that were returned, maybe three or four others that were returned to us because the address was wrong or something. But overall, I've been surprised at how trustworthy people have been. They haven't been taking advantage of us, because if some people order a $15 card and I send it to them with a stamp, they could very easily say that they never got it, and then I would be on the hook under TCGPlayer's terms. But we haven't had any issues with that so far, although I don't want to jinx myself. So let me knock on some wood or something. So, what? Yeah, exactly. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? I guess the other thing I'll talk about is, what? Oh, yeah, one of the things, so I think there's a few things we do that reduce the chances that someone, I don't know if scam is the right word, but maybe lies about receiving an order. As I mentioned, very few have been reported as missing. On orders over, usually around $1 or $2, we try to include a free sticker. You can get 200 stickers for about $8 on Amazon, so they're about 4 cents a piece. And so sometimes, if someone has an order that's a little bigger, we'll give them a free sticker and try to actually match up the type of sticker with the cards they ordered. And then also, I'll usually and frequently send out like a little note, like an email, to people that order, just saying, hey, this is who we are, linking them to our Instagram. We like to share people's orders, and then just saying, hey, we're just new, we're a small, business just starting up. Although I don't know if we can even be termed a business yet. I don't know if we're truly profitable yet, but I think the margins are good enough to where if we're not profitable yet, we'll be real soon. So I think just the combination of like, hey, we're just a small two people doing this. Here's a picture of us, or like a link to our Instagram, and then here's a sticker for free with your order, gets people to, I think, be really nice. And we've had very limited bad experiences. Almost nobody has complained or been mean or anything. I think that mostly people understand that actually delivering bulk to them seems like a little bit of a public service, in the sense that it seemed to be so labor intensive, and it is labor intensive. And I do think it's a public service in a sense, because people are ordering cards for very, very cheap. So I think people really appreciate it when they pick it up. Yeah, of course, I earlier, I would have never started selling bulk on my own. The only reason we're doing it is because my partner really, really likes organizing cards. And so she used to organize my cards. And as she ran out of cards to sort, she wanted me to acquire more and more to organize. So I was like, well, theoretically, we could sell bulk. I mean, if you want to organize anyway, you're going to do this in your free time, because she'll usually watch a TV show or something and sort just to keep her hands occupied. If you're going to do it anyway, then sure, we'll go ahead and acquire some bulk for you to work through and to sort. And then I can list them and pull them out for orders and stuff like that. So I don't think this work is for everyone. I think this is for people who actually enjoy sorting things. And there's a lot of people out there that really just enjoy sorting things and putting them in order and stuff. So I think that's one type of people. And then second type of people who already spending time watching TV or listening to podcasts and can afford to just use their hands and sort. Meanwhile, it's not a lot of money in terms of each order individually. Most of your orders are $1 or $2, right? In terms of total revenue, but when you build up and you have 700 orders, it adds up. I think we've probably done about $4,000 in sales so far in a month. So it's been fast. And the other big benefit is once you start getting people on your Instagram, because a lot of people who buy from TCGPlayer will share our Instagram account with them, just as a way to, number one, just share what people have ordered, and we think it's cool when people to share what they ordered. But sometimes we'll get stuck in, we'll put it on Instagram and be like, here's what we just got, anyone interested in it? And pretty much some people will just message you directly, and then you can get around TCGPlayer fees and listing, which makes some things easier too once you build a following that's big enough. So far we only have, I think, 70, 80 followers on Instagram, but it's getting to the point where sometimes we'll post stuff and we'll just have people reach out and be like, hey, I'm interested in that thing. Can I get it? Another thing I will say that is advantageous, as I mentioned, any extra bulk we get that we can't sell, which we haven't gotten to that place yet, but if we do, I'll probably, eventually sell it on to another bulk purchaser. But, a lot of the time you'll just go through and sort, and you'll pull out cards like this, which is tricking shoes, right? Or you'll pull out a staple like Professor's Research. Cards that are either worth $1 on their own, surprisingly, or cards that are in high demand because they're used for play. And it's honestly so fulfilling to pull those cards out. You'll just be going through a lot of bulk, and you pull out, Irida right now is the most expensive trainer from Astral Radiant set. She's selling for almost $5, this one card, right? And you'll be going through and you'll pull one out, and you're like, holy crap, this card paid for $5 worth of bulk that I just bought, and it's super fulfilling, because you feel a little vindicated when you start pulling out these cards. And even if you pull out a card that's worth 30 or 40 cents, you're like, wow, that it's going to sell quick, and it just paid for, this pile of cards I have in my hand right now, right here, so that's one of the more fulfilling parts, I would say. Let's see if I have any other reflections. Obviously, buying your own stuff in bulk and your shipping supplies reduces costs, not just buying stamps by the 100, but buying card savers. I bought 2,000 card savers, and when you buy that many off Amazon, it was 7 cents each. I bought 10,000 penny sleeves, and they were about 2/3 of a penny for each sleeve, so incredibly cheap for penny sleeves. I buy monster boxes in bulk. Once you start ramping up, because when you sell bulk cards on your own and you don't have a lot of it, I think people definitely would lose money selling it because they haven't gotten their expenses down. they'll use a 60-cent stamp instead of a 37-cent one. They'll use a top loader or a card saver they paid 15 cents for or whatever. But when you do enough volume and you're acquiring everything in bulk, you get your expenses down quite a bit to where shipping an order doesn't cost $1, but it costs 70 cents, and so the rest is kind of just like pure margin, profit margin. I think those are the main things I wanted to talk about for this first video about doing bulk. That's again thanks to TCG Bulk Kings, who went ahead and kind of got some of these first videos off the ground on how to sell. I think he was inspiring in the sense of making me realize that bulk isn't just a money-losing business, and that actually, if you have the heart for it and you're interested and you're not going to get bored and you have extra kind of time that you otherwise would spend watching TV, it's worth giving it a try. And for us, at the very least, I know we've broken even, so I don't regret getting started. But by the time we sell through this inventory, it certainly will be not a losing endeavor. Any other questions before I cut off the stream? I just wanted to do a short first live stream to test out and talk to some of you and kind of put some advice out there on bulk and celebrate my 700 sales, because definitely the sales started picking up and have gone far fast. I would have never imagined that we would get this many sales so fast. We had 500 sales as of within a month, and then we just got 200 more sales I think within the last like 2 weeks, if not even faster than that. So it's been incredibly quick selling on TCGPlayer. It's a massive platform. There's so many people that are just ordering in terms of volume. I think the next steps, I'm thinking about whether we want to join the direct program, which should theoretically reduce the amount of time spent packaging orders. The one problem I have, and I'm going to probably make a video or talk to some other people about the profitability of this, but the way the TCG Player Direct program works is that they just take half the money on each card you make or sell. So if I sell a card for 5 cents, they're going to take half the profit on that, and vice versa, and you still have to pay to ship it to their facility. And I think that's actually going to cut down on the margins. And so I want to talk to some people about their own experience, because in our experience, we'll sell a card for 15 cents and make 30-cent profit. So the margin is significantly greater than half the cost of the card. And if it's a 5-cent card and we're making the 30-cent margin because of we've gotten our shipping costs down so much, we would lose a lot of money switching to a program where we only got half the revenue from each card sold. So it's something I need to think about and consider, because by my math, it's actually you make more money and your margin is significantly greater selling 5-cent cards when someone's paying $1 for shipping. But that's just me, and that's what I'm thinking so far. So I have to think through it more on the monetary side if the direct program is right for us, because yes, you end up spending a lot more time packaging individual orders, but I do think it significantly cuts down your margin to go in the direct program. So if those are all the questions we've got, I'm going to go ahead and shut off this live stream. Thanks for watching. And if you're finding this stream a little later on, feel free to leave any questions and I'll answer them another time. Thanks. Have a good one.